What's up guys, Phantom here back with episode 46 of my F1 2019 career mode as we are going to the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix for round 3 of season 3.
Welcome to Shanghai, China for what I've no doubt is going to be a fantastic F1 qualifying session. This has been an exciting track in times gone by, and typically it entertains the moment the lights go out.
We've seen in the past how tricky the first corner is. It's not an issue in practice and qualifying, but if you throw a lot of highly competitive drivers at it all at once, you've got an entirely different situation. The smarter drivers will be able to temper their approach and stay out of trouble, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
As we start out here in Q2, as we go a little bit wide into the hairpin to start our flying lap around the next corner here, as we go wide again out of the last corner, which will compromise us going down the front stretch here into pretty much the snailiest section of the track, well, of the whole entire calendar, as it just keeps on going on and on. And you finally get a left-hander here, which we hit pretty well in first gear as we come down to the hairpin for our actual lap here, as we managed to hit it, as we actually did not use as much track as we could on the exit, as we corner cut the final corner this time, as we will come home to finish 11th in qualifying. We will not make it into Q3 as our teammate Raikkonen does, as we move on to the race.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles an hour, with DRS assisting the cars down the back straight before they brake into the sharp hairpin at turn 14. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Can I get your take on Haas? We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The fence starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Butler, Max Verstappen, and Faber, Grosjean, Leclerc, Raikkonen, and Sergio Perez. Oldtimer, Stroll, Lewis Hamilton, and Kvyat, Hülkenberg, Norris, George Russell, and Kevin Magnussen. Ricciardo and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
As we sit on the grid in P11 after a disappointing qualifying position, as the lights are out and away we go, as we get a pretty decent jump on Raikkonen, but Stroll has gotten an even better start and he'll go down our inside as he kind of forces out there a little bit wide, as the AI will bunch up a little bit here, which will allow us to go around the outside of our teammate Raikkonen, as he completely just squeezes us on the apex there, and we kind of have to back out of it, as we will retain 11th place here as we go to the first hairpin on the circuit, as we're going to dive bomb Perez and our teammate Raikkonen, as we will go side by side with Perez into the left-hander here, as we're going to go around the outside of him and make that move stick. As we move to the end of lap 2, coming on to lap 3, we're going to have a run on Grosjean and P8, who is having a terrible time right now in the Ferrari, as we thought about making a move there, as we will wait until this side stretch here into the hairpin, as we will dive down the inside, make sure not to lock up, and make the move stick easily on him, as it looks like Perez will be fighting him as well, as we are getting told if we want to change our strategy. And after some debate down the backstretch, I decided to change it to lap 7 instead of lap 5 here, as about half the cars in front of me will pit and we will take over P4, as the rest of the cars in front of us will pit, and it looks like we will be one, if not the only person to pit on lap 7, as our teammate Raikkonen did go in, as Kvyat is out of the race as we will come into the pits here, as it looks like they were in the middle sector there and he kind of just blew up there in the middle, as we will come in into pretty much one of the interesting pit lanes here with a big construction architect ahead above us, as this is also the infamous pit lane that Hamilton basically lost the '07 World Championship in, as we had a 2-second pit stop as we come out, as Leclerc is going to be really close and Leclerc is going to be just ahead of us, as he barely has beat us out of the pit lane. But coming on to lap 8 here, we are going to have DRS and we will be within a shot of him as we are getting on him, and we are going to go down the inside as we go a little bit too deep into turn 1 as he switchbacks on us, but we're going to hang it around the outside of him as we will have the inside for turn 2 here, as we will power off of the corner as we will be ahead of him, but he is right on our tail and he's going to look around the outside of us as we're going to have to go defensive into the first hairpin as we come and go out of the corner, as he looks like he's going to drag with us a little bit there, as it's almost the same move as we had with Perez earlier, but we will make the move stick as we are now looking on signs into the hairpin, as we keep getting really good runs there as we walk up slightly on the right front, as we get really good runs out of the snaily section, as right ahead of us Butler, Weber, and Verstappen were fighting here, and it looks like Weber has gotten a piece of his wing broken off as he was weaving there a little bit, as he is starting to drop off the back of those two, as he will now be a sitting duck for us, who will make the pass very easily into the backstretch hairpin here, which is pretty much one of the biggest braking zones on the calendar, as we have caught up to Verstappen and Butler, who are fighting right now for the podium, as Verstappen has gotten a very good run down the backstretch on Butler, as we were getting pretty much a better toe than both of them, as we're going to go down the inside of Butler, but we will absolutely just murder Verstappen there as we locked up on the brakes, as we came in way too hot here, as we show on the replay, as we are probably 4 or 5 car lengths back, as we pretty much did a Verstappen dive bomb there, as we come onto the last lap of the Grand Prix, and Sainz has retired with mechanical failure, as he was right ahead, behind us, as you can see us right there, one streaky boy, as that's what we were coming out of there, as Vettel has gotten ahead of Bottas in the final lap, the final few laps, as Bottas is not able to fight back against Vettel, which means Vettel will win the Chinese Grand Prix, which is a lot sooner than he won his first GP last season, as we will come home in third.
Well done, good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Sebastian Vettel is our new championship leader after a great result. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Old Timer. They pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Let's move on to the Constructors. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.